What if I told you that the reason you were so afraid of taking action is because you are overweighing what could possibly go wrong? You're catastrophizing something going wrong, and even if it does go wrong, it's not going to be wrong to the degree that you think, and it's probably not going to matter in a month, never mind a year from today.
Are you overly optimistic and you think everything's going to go right all the time? That tends to be me. Or are you overly pessimistic and irrational, to Kevin's point, where you are constantly looking at all the things that could go wrong, which is stopping you from actually taking consistent, courageous action?
Next Level Nation today for episode number... Hold on. I almost jeffed it. 2029. I put it in the wrong spot. It's a whole thing.
The year you were born?
The year I was born, 2029. A simple hack to make yourself more consistent. I was reading Reset.
Mm-hmm.
And in Reset, he was talking about, Dan Heath was talking about, where'd Chip Heath go? No love for Chip in the second book. Got booted.
I don't know, man. I think... So
Just
Dan
went
and
off.
Chip Heath, I believe, are brothers.
I would make that assumption based on the fact that they have the same last name.
Yeah. And Chip said, nah, man, that ain't me.
That's probably what's going to happen with us. We'll probably write a couple 2-3 books together, and then I'll kind of sail off on my own, become a prolific author, and the rest will kind of work itself out.
Isn't it wild how you're going to have a book before me?
Who knows? At this rate, who knows? I was listening to Reset, and a very simple but profound thought. There are two different kinds of things, and they don't say this in the book. This is my label, but there are concrete actions, and there are styrofoam actions. And in this thought process, a concrete action is that's like having a kid. That is a concrete action that will change your life forever, no matter what happens. That is concrete. There's not a lot you can do to reverse that. A styrofoam action is sending an email to someone and being afraid of rejection. Concrete means it is something that is deeply meaningful, deeply impactful, and it is extremely important in the grand scheme of things. A styrofoam thing is something that is most likely not going to matter tomorrow, hypothetically. And then there's a scale in between, right? Not everything is concrete, not everything is styrofoam. There are in-betweens. But how many of the things that we are procrastinating from, that we are running from, are based on the fact that we are treating them like they're concrete and they're the end of the world if they go wrong? And again, I understand that it's easier said than done because a lot of this is just highly emotional. But worst case scenario, if you were to record a podcast episode and put it out there, absolute worst case scenario is it goes viral and everybody hates you. But the odds of that happening are so I don't want to say insignificantly small. They're so small that this is a styrofoam action.
Well, there's zero probability of it going viral and everyone hating you.
Well, yes.
Unless
let's say the vast majority of people hating you. It's just
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's most likely not going to happen. But we catastrophize styrofoam things into concrete things. And that is my thesis in today's episode.
One thing came up for me while you were talking, which was, I want to tell this happening. How many years ago was this? 2, 3, 4? Kevin and I were preparing for a speech in the studio. It was a virtual speech. And at said speech that we did end up doing, Kevin, during the prep for it, was like, hey, man, let me drive for a minute. I want to see how this goes with me driving. You remember that?
Which, also, real quick, I fucked the title up. It's actually one mindset shift that will help you take action more quickly.
You said the wrong one?
Yeah, I said a simple hack to make yourself more consistent. I was like, wait, I think we already did
that. What's worse, the fact that you did it wrong or I didn't even notice?
Well, if there wasn't a better episode to mess up on, this is the best it's again, that's styrofoam. It doesn't matter. It really does. It's not that big of a deal. All things considered, it's not that big of a deal.
Did we plan that unconsciously?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is actually episode number 2029. One mindset shift that will help you take action more quickly. Welcome.
Nice. Do you remember the speech I'm talking about?
Where was it?
It was the first one that you took the reins and said, let's go this way. It was virtual. It was in the studio. It was when we met Amy.
Oh, yes.
It was essentially when we were exposed to Amy. Okay. So the reason I'm telling the story is because Kevin and I, if we were too scared to give that speech, at that speech we met Amy Lenius. She's speaking at Next Level Live with us. Next Level Live already happened when this is done, so hopefully that went well. But Amy's now a huge part of this company. One courageous action can change your life. And on the other end of that coin, one courageous action also can wither away to nothing. You plant certain seeds and they grow into something, and then other seeds, they just don't. And it's very hard to know in advance which ones will grow into something and which ones won't. I remember you and I almost didn't give that speech. I'm very grateful we did.
Yeah.
Because we met so many people. One of my clients, shout out to Christy, I have so many people that I now have in my life in a meaningful way that I never would have met had it not been for that one day. But we've done a lot of things that did work and didn't work at that level. It's just hard to know which in advance.
Well, some things work in an opposite way than you think. So you go do something that seems like it's the end of the world, it goes wrong and it doesn't work the way you thought, and then it ends up becoming like a super strength later.
Can you give an example?
No. Not really, no. No. I think a good one.
Nothing's coming.
The one I was mostly joking. I think I have a fair amount, but I think the one that stands out.
Biding time.
Right? Well, there's so many. Let me thumb through the Rolodex here. I think the one that jumps off the page is there was a girl that I was crushing on back in the day at our old gym. And one day, every time I saw her, I was like, I'm going to go say hi to her. I'm going to go say hi. And I never did. And every time I left the gym, I was like,
she just had a baby, I think, or is she pregnant or something? I saw some photos come through.
I'm not following her closely. I feel like that'd be a little sketchy if I was.
No, so she's a friend of a friend. She's a friend of a friend, yeah.
Okay. Every time I'd see her, I'd be like, I'm going to go talk to her. And I never did. And I always regretted it when I left the gym. And one day I was like, just fucking do it, man. And she said, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm actually taken, but I appreciate the approach. I did it very respectfully, not weird. I wasn't a weirdo. And that was like, well, I was only
around the corner.
Well, hello there.
Hey, I see you're doing the dumbbell sets. My name's Kevin. What's your name?
My name's Kevin. Nice to meet you. I got rejected.
Aren't you so glad those days are over, man?
100%.
I'm so grateful those days are over, honestly.
100%.
I was never that, I didn't shirk away from a lot of that stuff. I felt like pretty confident in that arena.
Not
but
me.
I am still grateful that's over, because what a pain in the ass all that is.
It was, and I got rejected, and I think now that was one of the things of like, honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. I had thought about, it's like, oh, next time I see her in the gym, it's going to be weird. It's like, it's really only as weird as you make it. Just put your head down and work out. It's not that big of a deal. It's really not that big of a deal. So that was super helpful for me. And all the times I got rejected early in business, that is super helpful now. I mean, I think that one of the times early on, one of the biggest shifts ever for me, I felt like I had so much imposter syndrome. I had just started coaching people. And I was like, somebody eventually is going to find me out and figure out I'm a fraud. And eventually somebody DM'd me on Instagram and they said, hey, I don't mean anything negative by this, but what gives you the right to be a coach? And I was like, oh shit, it's happening. I am found out. This is the end.
This is the end of
me. And then I was like, all right, let me formulate a message and respond to this person. And I responded and I said, number one, I appreciate the fact that you're not like attacking me, because I'd have to put you down if you were. I'm grateful you're not. I said, well, at this point, I've recorded, 200 podcast episodes all about self-improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I've interviewed some of the most successful people on the planet somehow. I don't know how we got to that point, but that's happening. I've done self-improvement.
Somehow.
I've done self-improvement.
I put some effort into that. It's like funny. Yeah, somehow it just kind of happened.
It happened. I've done self-improvement every day for however many days in a row. I'm not successful at this point, but like I'm leaning into a business that's slowly becoming successful. Mm-hmm. I went from suicidal to leaving my job to living my dreams. I listed all those things out and I sent them. And the person said, all right, cool. Yeah, seems legit. And I remember after that, it was like, oh my goodness, I just had to prove to somebody else something that I was not able to prove to myself yet.
Nice.
And that was like such an important lesson for me. But that's something that's kind of, that's not concrete. If somebody reaches out and doubts what you're doing, it's not concrete. But I do think the mindset dictates whether it's concrete or styrofoam way more than maybe the action or the behavior or the feedback does.
You remember way back, Next Level Live 2020? Maybe. Do you remember when I had a slide up of a kitten looking into
that was
a puddle?
2022, I believe.
Seriously? It feels
2020,
like so long ago.
2024 was at Groton. 2023 was the second one in Worcester. I think it was 2022. That was the one where you were talking about everybody was a redwood, right?
Yeah.
2022.
Look at Kev's face when he says that. If you're not on YouTube,
For no reason.
He didn't like that speech.
No particular reason.
Not a big fan of my speech on that one. God damn. So, but you remember the image. So it's a kitten looking into a puddle, seeing a tiger. Why is my lights freaking out? I have a client who is rating from 0 to 10, kitten or tiger. And we talked about how do you tie your identity? And I have an article that I wrote called Quantum Goal Setting way back. And if anyone wants it, I'll actually put the link in the show notes if you want to check it out. It's on my LinkedIn.
I was hoping you would say, if anybody wants it, too bad. Because it doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore. No, I didn't delete that one. It's actually not called Quantum Goal Setting. That's what I call it. It's called how to actually set and achieve your goals, something like that. But anyways, the link will be in the show notes. Kev, give me a minute here. No, it's okay. I interrupt you 8,000 times. We're good. So the point that I'm making, though, is there's all these different types of goals. What this client was doing is waiting to get the results before they felt like the tiger. But yeah, the paradox there is until you treat yourself of value in advance, you actually won't get those results. And so that's the paradox we all have to work through. It's how do you hold the identity of who you are, who you used to be, who you are now, and who you need to be, who you aspire to be, and how do you sort of merge those? And the different types of goals in quantum goal setting, let me see if I can get this. There's results goals, character goals, mastery goals, process goals. Let me go through each and give an example because otherwise it won't land. Okay, results goals is what I think most people tie their self-esteem to. Once I get the car, once I get the house, once I get the girl or the guy, once I get the body, then I'll be confident. It doesn't work like that. You're not going to get the body until you're confident first. If you're not confident enough to go to the gym, you're never going to get the results that are a byproduct of going to the gym. So you have to have other goals that work in tandem with the results goal. That's the point of the article. Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes. And so I'll go through these one by one. So results goals is what most people think they want. That's the start of the growth journey. So for me, when I was younger, I really wanted to, Brad Pitt in Troy, 2004, I remember thinking, like, if I could look like that, that would help me not be overlooked by every female. Okay, so that's a result goal. But you can't just wait until you're 42. You got to do some stuff first. Okay, so the next would be character goals. Okay, character is internal. Who do you want to be as a man? Who do you want to be as a woman? Who do you want to be as a husband or a wife or as a father or a mother or as a podcaster, as a person? What do you want to stand for? Internal. Then next is mastery goals, skills. What do you want to get really good at? Basketball, snowboarding, video games, weight training, podcasting, coaching, training, whatever it is. Lights going nuts again. Okay. So now you've got results goals, mastery goals, and character goals. I did the wrong order. After that's process goals. So this person is doing 2 YouTube videos a week, long form. That's a process. Can you do that? Okay, and then 3. So for us, it was 1 episode, then 2 episodes, then 3 episodes. Now it's 7. Then there's contribution goals. What's the impact you want to have? What do you want to serve the world? In what way? You used to mention a dog shelter all the time.
Back in the day, yes.
That
was my example.
Shout out to our team. Someone on our team has many dogs, and it is creating a dog shelter. So, okay, so let me go through them real quick. Results goals, character goals, mastery goals, process goals, contribution goals, and then the last one is inner circle goals, meaning who do you aspire to be around? And then the last one, I think there's 7, and I think the last one is, I wrote this article a long time ago. Hold on. Philanthropic goals, no. Although that would be a good addition if I were to pick another one. Results, character, mastery, process, inner circle, contribution, probably growth goals, personal development goals. I don't know what the last one is. I can look it up while you talk.
You want me to talk? This was something I overlooked when it happened. I'm willing to bet that if I made the mistake I made today in episode number 20, I would have canned the episode. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a little hypocritical. I'm going to be very honest. I think it's a little hypocritical of me to say, look at how easy it is to have something that is styrofoam end up seeming concrete or vice versa. But that would be the challenge. If I had just started a podcast today and I made the mistake I made, maybe that's a different game. Right? Maybe it's not apples to apples. And
well, I think that's one thing you and I never want to lose sight of, right?
That's the goal. But I also understand that if I hadn't done 2,000 of these, I would probably care a lot more. Not that I don't care. I just don't. It's not the end of the world. It's not that big of a deal. Tomorrow we'll get back up on the horse and try it again.
The episode we did earlier today, but
this would be Saturday's episode.
So yesterday's episode. Okay, so yesterday's episode, when I got off it, I went right to a coaching session, and I had that moment of, oof, that was a vulnerable one. I forget what we were talking about, but
we were talking about.
I talked a lot about my past in that one. I talked about my stepdad and my, that, and I just realized, okay, I was a little bit wounded in that one. That's okay. I don't think I went too bad or off the rails or anything, but I had that moment, and I want to share with everyone watching or listening. If you ever do want to podcast or speak, you're going to get triggered in the middle of speaking. I mean, I talked about, it was yesterday's episode, I said verbatim something along the lines of this. Everyone out there watching or listening, you can think of someone who is not taking care of themselves, who it hurts you to see them not taking care of themselves because they may not be here for the long run because of that. And I realized after the episode was done, I was, wow, I'm hurt a little. Like that hurt, like that triggered me. And I think after that, I probably got more passionate. That tends to be what I do. Because what am I going to do? Shut down in the middle of the episode? But there's something there too of, we need to remember how hard this was in the beginning, even though we've done it so many times. So I appreciate that you mentioned that. I also figured out that it was mentor goals, by the way. Mm-hmm. Mentor goals. So who do you want for mentors? And the link to the article will be in the show notes. I do believe that this framework will help you. If you're someone out there who's waiting for the result to feel good enough or to feel confident, this will help tremendously.
I think it's easy to lose sight. I think we all lose sight of it in some way, shape, or form. The first day at your job, maybe you thought it was going to go horribly wrong and you didn't know what you were doing, and now it's super easy to do. That, I think we all lose sight of this in some way, shape, or form. The unfortunate piece of it is oftentimes it's the stuff that isn't the deepest, closest, and most meaningful to us. It's the stuff that I don't want to say are forced to do, but I think a lot of the fears that we overcome, a lot of the discomforts that we work through, a lot of the resistance that we push through is because it's a necessity to pay the bills as opposed to improve as a person. How many How many fears did I have to overcome when I was doing the job that required all that travel? Would I ever have done that if it wasn't attached to a paycheck? Who knows? Who knows? So there was a lot of extra necessity there. But there wasn't necessity to grow Kevin. That was all a result of me having to do that in order to get the goal of making more money. And I think that's something interesting. You're probably way better at this than you think in certain arenas. You just don't give yourself credit for it. I'm willing to bet. Or if you have kids, if you have kids and they come home and they're losing their mind because they have a book, what the hell is it? A book report? Something like that. And you're like, it's Kev, it's going to be fine.
Hated book reports, man.
Same.
Hated them.
Same. It's going to be fine. It's not that big of a deal. I remember when I was in like, I don't know, 4th grade, maybe 5th grade, we had to make a menu from a restaurant that didn't exist, but we thought would be cool. Mine was Roadkill Cafe. That was my restaurant.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, man. There is one of those. I think that's where I got it from. I think I got like a C or something. I thought this was golden. I thought this was the creme de la creme, so to speak.
Not.
It wasn't. Also, I don't know if I've ever told this podcast. How much time do we have? Okay, in high school, we had a Spanish teacher who, unfortunately, I was a dick in Spanish class. I was an asshole.
I was in that class. I was in the class with you, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. It was bad. I mean,
Were we in the same class with this?
I don't think so.
I definitely had this teacher, though.
That threw a desk out of the second story window?
Dude, honestly, I know the teacher you're referring to, and I had her for Spanish as well. I don't know if I was in your class or not, but I was definitely... My class ran amok with her.
Unfortunately, I feel like every class did, and I am guilty and not proud of being an asshole. One of the things we had to do is we had to make a Spanish video. And everything you said had to be in Spanish. We made Spanish Jackass. It was me, Andrew, Dustin, I think, and Chris.
Yep.
And we made a Spanish Jackass. And one of the things, I was running backwards on a treadmill, and then somebody threw a big exercise ball, and I did a header and landed on my head. My arm got stuck. I still have a scar on my wrist to this day. Because my arm got stuck under myself on the treadmill, and it just kept going, and it burned my skin off. We just did a bunch of random stuff, and we tried to speak Spanish in it. I thought it was going to be the biggest hit. I'm pretty sure we failed. I think we failed that. All things considered, it doesn't matter that much. That's the point I'm trying to make. There are some things in life that matter way more than you give credit for. Your health, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep. That type of stuff. That's super important. We don't give enough credit to that. Those are concrete. Those are more concrete things for sure. That's my next level lesson in this. I think we're all really good in an arena at this, especially when we're giving advice to other people. Sometimes it's hard to take our own advice.
Well, here's the problem, brother, and we'll end with this. Everything matters a ton, and these little things don't matter that much. But that's so hard to freaking articulate.
I know.
Missing one day of exercise is actually a big deal when it comes to the compound effect, but it's not a big deal either. And it's very hard to articulate this in a powerful way. So everyone think of, probably the best way we can go is everyone think of a time in the past, one decision that made a big difference. I'm going to go through my 4 best decisions I've ever made. The first one was going to WPI. Best decision I ever made. Engineering college, I got around some of the smartest people on earth, and it changed my freaking life. It also was wildly, alarmingly difficult. Computer engineering was fucking brutal. Number 2, I left my ex-girlfriend. Best choice ever of all time. Third best choice was DMing Emilia Smith. The 4th one would be going on my own after corporate and starting.
What the fuck? Where was I in there? I thought I was going to be number 4.
That is what led me to this.
I'm obviously kidding.
Okay. Hey, but starting Alan Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know after my car accident 10 years ago, that's my 4th. But for everyone out there watching or listening, I hope you're not just listening to mine. I hope you're thinking about a couple choices that you made that changed everything. Maybe it was where to live. Maybe it was to DM somebody. If I had never DM'd Emilia, dude, my whole world would be different. So here's the truth. If you get rejected when you invite someone to an event, or you invite someone on your podcast, or you send that DM, it's not the end of the world. However, you not doing those things, the opportunity cost to the point of the last episode might be massive, but I never would have known any different. If I had never met Emilia, I would never have known any different because I'd never experienced anything like this before. So that's why it's so important for you to take the courageous next step. The courage to take that next step. It took courage to DM Emilia when I thought she had a boyfriend because her Facebook said she did. It took courage. And if I didn't have that courage, I would not be the man I am today. So just courageous, massive, messy action. I know you don't like the massive thing, but courageous next move. What's the courageous next move? I know we got to jump.
We do have to jump. Last thing. I got to get the last word in here. I hate to be that guy. I do, but I got to get it. I think it's one of those things, we could put this in the bucket of it gets easier as you do it more. When you face a level 1 fear and you realize it went wrong and it's not that bad, you face a level 2 fear and you're like, this actually wasn't that bad. Now, a level 10 fear might be too much. I'm not saying it's ever not going to be that, but it's the familiarity of chaos is a good thing if the chaos is constructive. That's what I will end with. Okay, April 15th, 2025. Next Level Podcast Accelerator. So if you are a podcaster who is looking to level up yourself, level up your podcast, and level up your business or start a business from your podcast, that is the direction our group coaching is going. Tickets. My goodness, I'm all over the place today. With the discount code, it ends up being $96.60 per month, and you get 4 calls per month. That's like $24.80 per call. That is a bargain at twice the price.
Group 18, we've perfected this program for 17 groups. This is super, super valuable. Let this be the Mario Kart booster. The Mario Kart booster that brings you to your goals and dreams. That's what this will be. 90 days, 12 weeks, rock and roll. It's going to be absolutely awesome. The link will be in the show notes.
As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.